Welcome to Frontline at 6 o'clock here on the East Coast, and we are now 66 hours into the government shutdown. Meantime, Trump on the brink of making yet another peace deal. Moments ago, Hamas responding to Trump's warning that, quote, all hell will break loose if they don't accept his peace proposal. Hamas now saying it will release all of the remaining hostages, dead or alive, if certain conditions are met. We'll have more on that coming up. Also today, the White House announcing our military forces took out yet another drug boat near Venezuela, this time with enough narcotics to kill 50,000 people, according to President Trump. The boat was entering American territory. 4 narco terrorists aboard were also killed. Mess around and find out. And an iconic coin, the U.S. Treasury Department is considering minting a $1 coin for America's 250th birthday next year. It'll feature none other than President Trump's head on one side and him with the phrase, fight, 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 on the back. I'm Lidia Curanaj in for Carl Higbie, and Frontline starts right now. The Schumer shutdown rolls on after the Republican bill to reopen the government failed to get the 60 votes needed. Hours earlier, Speaker Mike Johnson again laying it out for the American people that the major sticking point of the Democrats shutting down our government is simply free health care for illegal aliens.
These are all the various provisions in the chart over here. Those are listed in millions. So you see the final total there, $192.8 billion of your hard-earned taxpayer dollars that Chuck Schumer and the Democrats want to give back to illegal aliens. That's a fact.
It certainly isn't. You know, do you really think that Chuck Schumer is doing all of this so he can give illegal aliens free health care? After all, here's what he said in 1996.
Over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud.
Ooh, whoa. Did he even use the I word, illegal? And guys, that is not AI. I know it's hard to believe, right? Because here's what Schumer says now about illegals.
The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
Schumer, he doesn't suddenly care about illegals. Let's not get I mean, come on. Schumer has always only cared about Schumer. And that's what this Schumer shutdown is really about. Chuck Schumer knows that if Socialist Democrat Congresswoman AOC primaries him in staunch blue New York Senate race, Schumer will be beaten bigly by a Bronx bartender. And his ego, it can't handle that. So he's shutting down the government, leaving hundreds of thousands of Americans without a paycheck and maybe even a job, so Schumer can appear to be as radically left as AOC.
And I saw some Republican members of Congress saying, oh, well, if we have this shutdown, it's because of AOC. Well, if that's the case, my office is open and you are free to walk in and negotiate with me directly. Because what I'm not going to do is tolerate 4 million uninsured Americans because Donald Trump decided one day that he wants to just make sure that kids are dying because they don't have access to insurance.
Girl, you are not a senator, but clearly you are aiming to be one, maybe even the president, and you are certainly in the driver's seat here. Take a listen to what she also said on NBC News.
The fact of the matter is, I can tell you, in the 7 years that I've been here, they have never given me a single phone call because they know what the truth is. They know that the people that they need to be negotiating with and who they are negotiating with are Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, and that they are getting walloped in these negotiations because they have no plan for people, and we are here to ensure that every American has expanded and protected health care in America.
Oh, did you just hear that? Ladies and gentlemen, that right there, that is a coup in the Democrat Party happening right before our eyes. She threw down the gauntlet, the mic, whatever you want to call it. Even CBS News knows that the Dems are lying when they say they're not pushing for free health care for illegals.
There is nothing in Medicaid, there is nothing in Medicare that permits one undocumented immigrant to get $1 of assistance.
Senator, if you let me finish the question.
Of course,
Senator,
I'm sorry.
Sorry, in the Democratic counteroffer, the proposal for funding, there is a restoration of Medicaid benefits for certain non-citizens that it had been taken away in the big, beautiful bill, as the Republicans put it. Republicans don't think those people should be getting health care on the taxpayer dime. I'm not asking on the merits. Politically, putting that in there exposes you to this talking point, this lie, as you put it. Why put it in there? Why is it worth it?
Ooh, Senator Warren was about as livid there as when her ancestry DNA results came in. Democrats want illegal aliens to have free health care because how else do you get them to vote for you? This is what the Democrats do. Under the guise of equality, they give away free stuff. But it's always been about power and control and votes, boosting the census numbers, getting more seats, getting more tax dollars, right? Democrats think that the American voter is stupid. And sadly, millions of them are, half of this country. I mean, and that's why Trump is using the brilliant strategy of humor to call out the Democrats. His latest AI video stars Office of Management and Budget Director Russ Vought as the Grim Reaper, who is now weighing what woke agencies to cut federal funding to. Yeah, more cowbell. And the more the Democrats call Trump names like racist and bigot for all of the trolling videos, the harder and funnier Trump is hitting back at them.
It's a disgusting video, and we're going to continue to make clear bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented Republican assault.
And yes, while all of this, it is funny, it's amusing, it's also eye-opening. The Republicans, Trump, they are simply trying to be fiscally responsible with our tax dollars. Yet the Democrats, all they want to do is stop the Trump agenda.
Instead, the counterproposal, this is page 57. This is on our website. Go to speaker.gov. You can get all these visual aids for yourself, all right? Page 57, section 2141. You see the highlighted language. There's a lot of legalese in this legislation, in these bills, but it says that they want to repeal the health subtitle changes. What does that refer to? You read down here, Public Law 119-21. That's the one big, beautiful bill. That's the American Families Tax Cut.
They want to take your tax cuts. So, I mean, the Democrats, they don't understand the American people and what they need and what they want because the Democrats are consumed with TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. No matter what Trump does, they demonize him. Trump securing at least 7 peace deals in 8 months in office. He might be achieving peace in the Middle East right now as we speak. And the left, all they'll say is, oh, he just wants a Nobel Peace Prize. Trump is sending in the National Guard to stop lawlessness in our blue sanctuary cities. And the left shouts, oh, he's a dictator. Oh, federal overreach. Yet the Democrats, all they want to say over and over again is that MAGA is a cult. Meanwhile, forget the proverbial Kool-Aid. Lib moms, they were chugging Tylenol to spite Trump. They don't even care about their unborn babies. So we are not dealing with rational people here. But remember, arguing with a fool only proves there are two. Joining me now, South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Nancy, Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us. AOC, you think she's really the driving force here, that Chuck Schumer is just so deathly afraid of her, and that this is what he's doing to appease the hardcore left of that base so he can win in that primary? Because here in New York City, if you win the Democrat primary, you're almost guaranteed the win at the general election.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we are shut down. Schumer shut down the government because of a former bartender from the Bronx. He is terrified of being primaried by AOC, which is why he is placating to the far left fringes of the party who want the shutdown. Whereas, most of the country does not want to shut down. They're doing it anyway. We're talking about a clean CR, clean continuing resolution that Democrats have voted on 13 times previously. It's no different. They voted on it in March to avoid a shutdown. They voted for it again. And this is all because of Schumer being terrified of AOC. It's nothing more than that.
Right. Nancy Pelosi, do you think she should be afraid too? And did you hear also what AOC just said there, that she basically called Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer ineffective? And she said they can come to my office and come talk to me. So clearly she's a member of Congress. She's not even in the Senate, but she is in the driver's seat here.
Well, certainly she sounds like an entitled brat when she says it that way, full of ego, but she has a lot of power, wields a lot of power because of the monetary support she receives across the country and the viral following that she has by saying outrageous things and lying through her teeth. But the other thing, too, that's important here is that Democrats are literally lying through their teeth, aided by mainstream media. This is also about them buying votes from illegal aliens because they want illegals to get free health care. They get the free health care. They'll vote illegally for Democrats in our elections. This is what the plan is also. I think the American people, when we know we know that they see what's truly going on here. And that's why the approval rating for Democrats is quickly tanking. And the longer we give them a microphone, the longer we allow them to speak, the better our prospects are next year in the midterms.
What do you think about the Democrats lying to the American people? Even CBS News calling Elizabeth Warren out about it. They keep saying, oh, no, not a dime goes to illegal aliens. Can you explain to our audience how that is simply not true?
Well, I think people are seeing now, especially because of Trump and in the era of Trump, all of the lies they told about Donald Trump. And here we are, Democrats once again lying about the shutdown, blaming it on Trump, blaming it on Republicans. And that's just not the case. And I have to tell you, as bad as this is right now, it's going to get worse. But the American people are truly seeing how un-American, how America last the Democrat Party is. And they're going to be left with nothing if they continue this.
You know, President Trump, he's masterfully trolling the left, his administration. They're no slouch either. I want you to take a listen to the CNN report on the out-of-office messages being used at the Department of Education. Take a listen to this.
In part, it is the very partisan message that calls out and blames Senate Democrats for the shutdown, saying the House of Representatives passed a clean continuing resolution. Unfortunately, Democrat senators are blocking passage of H.R. 5371 in the Senate. What's different here at the Department of Education, John, is that employees did not give their consent and that this was done without their knowledge. And I had one employee tell me today that they actually went back into their email, changed their out-of-office message twice, and it was reverted back and overridden by this actual partisan messages. So it's very concerning.
So, it's very concerning, but, you know, this is what the president is trying to do in his administration, is get the truth out there, because they're trying to make it seem like, oh, it's all the Republicans. But clearly, this is all a Schumer shutdown at the end of the day.
And the other thing they missed, too, is that this is a bipartisan bill. I mean, the Democrats have voted on the same measure 13 times previously, and there were 3 Democrats in the U.S. Senate. But all the Department of Education is doing is stating a fact. This is a fact. This isn't a partisan message when you're telling the actual truth, which is what we as Republicans do, because we have more integrity, more ethics, and more morals than any of them on the left side of the aisle.
Congresswoman Nancy Mace, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Coming up, a conservative journalist arrested in Portland after being ambushed by the Antifa mob. Now the Justice Department is investigating, headed by Harmeet Dhillon. She'll join us live later. But first, Trump telling Israel to immediately stop bombing Gaza after Hamas says it's ready to release the hostages there, dead or alive. We'll have a live report and more from the Middle East next.
Just before Charlie Kirk died, he issued a stark warning of terrifying dangers ahead. Charlie wrote this in the foreword for the new book, Pagan Threat, by Pastor Lucas Miles. Charlie said that Pagan Threat could save America, and that you must read and share this book. A #1 Amazon bestseller, Pagan Threat is available everywhere. Get Pagan Threat free with Newsmax's special offer and save $30. Go online today and read Charlie's final words.
Mesothelioma is a life-changing diagnosis. Let us come to you and help provide the guidance you need. At MRHFM, we offer our Meso Care Promise. Mesothelioma is all we do. We'll even come to you. We provide the support you deserve. With our team of nurses and attorneys, you will never be alone in this fight.
Call us at 800-555-1059. That's 800-555-1059. Or go to mesobook.com.
This October 5th to 7th, join us for the Flags of Fellowship. Show the world that Israel is not alone.
For a house of God to put the Israeli flag outside, it says we are willing to stand up, to stand with the state of Israel.
By participating in the Flags of Fellowship, we're going to be very clear and bold about our support for Israel.
This is the moment that you show your congregation, yes, you respect, support Israel. This is the moment.
This is the moment. They deserve the right to be who they are.
And the one way is the flag, and put it outside.
In Israel, when they see us raising those flags, they feel supported, but they also feel proud.
Tell the Jewish people in Israel and around the world that Christians in America stand with them. You can be part of this historic movement. Learn more by going to ifcj.org today.
And that breaking news, President Trump telling Israel to immediately stop bombing Gaza after Hamas responding to his threat to release all hostages or, quote, all hell will break loose. Middle East correspondent Zach Anders live for us from Tel Aviv with the latest. Zach?
Lydia, the news here moving at a lightning fast pace. And where this started about 2 hours ago now, Hamas putting a statement on their Telegram channel, and then a litany of Hamas men started making the rounds on Al Jazeera, different Arab TV networks, giving interviews, official statements. They say that they're giving a positive response. It's not an outright acceptance of the deal that was presented by Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump, the 20-point peace plan. The only element here where we've been able to dive through Hamas statements and find some agreement with the original U.S. peace plan is that they're willing to release all 48 hostages, 20 of whom Israel believes still alive, within the framework of what this peace proposal is offering. They do not state that they can do so immediately like the president has demanded. They say they have lost contact with some of the hostages and the terrorists who are holding those hostages, so that it's not possible to do so immediately like the president has asked. They also use language that says they're willing to negotiate on the specifics of the hostage releases once the situation on the ground is suitable to do so. They've also stated that all other points are something that they will be willing to enter negotiations with. A positive response. This is the yes, but response. It is not an outright acceptance of the 20-point peace plan. Now, the president has posted that Israel must immediately stop the bombing of Gaza so that we can get the hostages out safely and quickly. This statement is released on Truth Social. We're expecting that the president is going to have some sort of on-camera address that comes out at any moment. This is something that, as I've reached out to our Jerusalem sources, those close to the prime minister's office, I will say that there is an incredible amount of strain at this moment, and they're waiting for Washington, D.C. and the White House to provide some more clarity on where we actually stand. But based on the conversations that I'm having right now, it does not feel like Jerusalem feels very good tonight about the prospect of what this deal was supposed to be and what we're talking about right now. There's still a lot that needs to get done. And I will say, as we hear the president say that the bombing needs to stop right now, we're still getting reports of fighting on the ground and of airstrikes. Lydia?
All right, Zach Anders, thank you so much for that report. Well, can Trump achieve peace in the Middle East once again? Here with us to discuss these latest breaking developments, Fred Fleitz, former CIA analyst and former National Security Council chief for the Trump administration. Also with us, Victoria Coates, vice president of the National Security at the Heritage Foundation. Fred, President Trump also just posted to Truth Social moments ago, based on the statement just issued by Hamas. I believe they are ready for a lasting peace. Israel must immediately stop the bombing of Gaza so that we can get the hostages out safely and quickly. Right now, it's far too dangerous to do that. We are already in discussions on details to be worked out. This is not about Gaza alone. This is about long-sought peace in the Middle East. Hamas responding to Trump's Truth Social post from earlier today, where he told Hamas to accept that 20-point peace plan or all hell would break loose by 6 p.m. Sunday. Does this show you just that President Trump, he is exhibiting peace through strength once again on the world stage?
Well, I think Trump's extremely ambitious peace plan got us to this point. But look, I looked at this plan. This is a clever no. Hamas has not agreed to disarm, is not agreed to give up its weapons. It has tanked the idea of an international force, and it wants to play a role in the future of Gaza. These are unacceptable conditions. What Hamas did, it is front-loading its response with what everyone wants, releasing the hostages. So when Israel and the U.S. reject this deal, and they're going to have to, they'll be blamed. It's a fake, and I hope that the president stands up to them and said, I want a real response that agrees to the terms of my peace deal.
Right, because Hamas said that it would agree to release all the hostages, dead or alive, as long as, quote, the field conditions for the exchange are met. You know, and then, of course, they didn't address that critical point, like you just mentioned, Fred, about disarmament. So Trump's plan states, Victoria, that Hamas must agree to a process of demilitarizations of Gaza under independent monitors. So now it seems like this is fake. They just come out and say, yeah, we'll release all the hostages, dead or alive, but. So then what should President Trump's next step be?
Well, Lydia, good to be with you and with you, Fred. In my opinion, the president's deadline of 6 o'clock on Sunday afternoon still holds until he says it doesn't, and that if Hamas complies during that time frame, then maybe we can get somewhere. But I agree. I mean, Hamas has never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity. This is a great deal for them as it's structured. It either allows them to disarm or allows them to leave the country safely to go somewhere else. It allows the Palestinian people in Gaza to rebuild and create some prosperity and some security for themselves. But no, Hamas won't address those issues. But the other piece of this is, of course, the hostages. If there is an opportunity to get them out, Israel has shown themselves over the last 2 years. Important to note, we'll have the second anniversary of October 7th on Monday. They've been willing to adjust the conditions on the ground to get hostages out. If we can do that, that would be an excellent first step. But I agree, I'm very skeptical when it involves Hamas.
Yeah, we have less than a minute. Fred, what do you think happens next? Your prediction?
Well, the beauty of the president's peace plan is that he can go forward to rebuild Gaza, whether or not Hamas accepts this. I wrote this in an American Greatness piece today. I hope your viewers will check it out. This is the last peace plan. Hamas either cooperates or it is destroyed, and the world will move on without them. Unfortunately, we may not get the hostages out. I hope I'm wrong, but this response today, I don't think it's credible. But let's hope the president has the strength to force Hamas to negotiate in good faith.
Victoria, we have 30 seconds left. At the end of the day, we don't want innocent people to die, even, in Gaza, no matter what, especially women and children. This is horrific. Hamas using them as human shields. They're winning this propaganda war. So how do you kill Hamas without killing innocent lives?
Well, I think that is, obviously part of the dilemma here, Lydia. But the other thing I wanted to emphasize is what President Trump said at the end of his statement, which is this is part of the larger picture of Middle East peace. This may be what had to happen to get to more normalization deals for Israel. Israel accepted it. The Arab world accepted it. If Hamas are the only ones that reject it, they're not going to get a veto over that process anymore.
Fred and Victoria, thank you both.
Thank you.
Coming up, ambushed by Antifa, conservative journalist arrested last night after Antifa members attacked him during a riot in Portland outside of an ICE facility. We've got more on that next.
Hi, folks. I'd like to tell you about YRefi. Did you know that as an accredited investor, when you invest in YRefi, your interest rate is fixed? You can invest from 1 to 5 years, and you can spread your investment over those terms that best suit your needs. You also have the freedom to take your monthly interest income or reinvest it, whatever you choose. When you invest in YRefi, your interest is calculated daily and you're paid monthly. And should you need your money back early, there is a liquidity feature. Would you like some more information? Just call 877-80-INVEST. That's 877-80-INVEST. Or log on to investYRefi.com. That's investYRefi.com. For complete details, make sure to review the private placement memorandum and scan this QR code to view the disclosures at your leisure. YRefi, investing in America's future.
You'll find them in cities, towns, and suburbs all across America. Millions of people who have Medicare and Medicaid but may be missing benefits they could really use. Extra benefits they may be eligible to receive at no extra cost. And if you have Medicare and Medicaid, you may be able to get extra benefits too through a Humana Medicare Advantage dual eligible special needs plan. These plans have a $0 monthly plan premium. Call now to see if you qualify. With a Humana Medicare Advantage dual-eligible special needs plan, you could have doctor, hospital, and prescription drug coverage, plus extra benefits in one convenient plan. Most plans include the Humana Healthy Options Allowance. Get over $1,000 a year. That's $85 a month to help pay for covered over-the-counter items like vitamins, pain relievers, first aid supplies, and more. Your allowance is conveniently loaded onto a prepaid card each month, and whatever you don't spend gets carried over to the next month. Ask us about all the items your allowance may cover. Plus, you could get other important benefits. All plans include dental coverage with $0 copays for covered preventive services, vision coverage, including eye exams, and a yearly allowance to use towards eyewear, and hearing benefits with routine hearing exams and coverage toward hearing aids. Plus, hundreds of prescriptions have a $0 copay, so you'll pay nothing for them all year long. And you'll have access to Humana's multiple large plan networks of doctors, hospitals, and pharmacies. Best of all, if you have Medicare and Medicaid, you may be eligible to enroll in a Humana Medicare Advantage dual-eligible special needs plan right now. So if you have Medicare and Medicaid, call now to see if there's a plan in your area that could give you extra benefits. But now is the time. The annual enrollment period ends December 7th. Humana, a more human way to health care.
Wow. Lo and behold.
I know that walk anywhere.
Welcome to the Senate Tulsa. It's a privilege to see you here.
Oh, my God. If any first responder or Gold Star widow has someone die in the line of duty and they leave a young family behind, we pay every mortgage off in America.
Well, it's such a humane thing to do, to take care of the people that are taking care of us.
Exactly.
I'm Sylvester Stallone. Please donate $11 a month at T2T.org.
And welcome back to Frontline. I'm Lidia Curanaj in for Carl Higbie during an Antifa riot outside of a Portland ICE facility. Left-wing lunatics ambushed conservative journalist and friend of this show, Nick Sorter, and during the melee, Portland cops arrested Nick. He was charged with disorderly conduct in the second degree and released without bond. His arraignment is scheduled for October 6th. But the question here is, why are Portland police more concerned with arresting a journalist and taking care of the actual chaos and the criminals in their blue sanctuary city? Nick Sorter tweeting out today, quote, Attorney General Pam Bondi has ordered a full investigation led by Assistant AG Harmeet Dhillon of the Portland Police Bureau following my wrongful arrest last night. Bondi confirmed to me, FAFO, Portland Police. Pam Bondi personally called me to deliver this news, and I am incredibly grateful to her for doing so. The Trump DOJ will not allow Portland Police to continue doing the bidding of Antifa. Joining me now is the person taking on this case, Harmeet Dhillon, Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights for the Department of Justice. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. You just announced the official civil rights investigation into the Portland Police Bureau. What can you tell us about your investigation thus far?
Well, thank you for having me today. And this is indeed the type of rapid response that Americans have gotten used to from our Department of Justice under Pam Bondi. She called me this morning about this. I'd already been following the case, and within a couple of hours, we'd opened up our investigation. So here's the background. The Portland Police Department has absolutely failed to protect the people of Portland going back well over a decade. They've been in the crosshairs of the United States Department of Justice dating back to 2010. A federal consent decree was actually issued against Portland's police department in 2012. They tried to delay it up by a couple of years, but it went into effect 11 years ago in 2014. Since that time, as we've all seen on the television, there have been numerous riots with Antifa over the last 5 years. And while Portland was temporarily sort of in the about to get out of the consent decree phase, because of its failure to properly arrest people, document what was happening on the streets, keep people safe, they haven't gotten out from under the consent decree. So what we're doing today is actually under the purview of an existing federal consent decree over bad police practices. And we issued a very detailed letter this morning demanding to know why a journalist was arrested, why a second journalist, Katie Daviscourt, who was viciously assaulted earlier this week, where the police had the assailants temporarily in custody and let them go and did nothing about it. Why does it seem like the Portland police are actually working for Antifa as opposed to the people of Portland? They're completely failing, and it looks like there's viewpoint discrimination and potentially other types of discrimination in police encounters with journalists, with citizens, versus Antifa, who have gotten off scot-free. And one other thing you should know is I have a history of litigating in Portland regarding Antifa. When the police did nothing over there, when my friend and client Andy No got assaulted in 2019 and beyond, I stepped in, sued, and eventually got judgments in those cases, all while the city did nothing. And this is past time for it to be over. And so we're hopefully going to see the National Guard in there in Portland to bring some order. But you cannot just attack ICE agents and federal courthouses and journalists in America and get away with it. That's the message of this Department of Justice.
And we'll be talking to Andy No in just a minute. And to your point, U.S. Northern Command just confirming that 200 Oregon National Guard personnel have been activated under federal command to support the protection of federal personnel in greater Portland area. What do you think about the Democrat leader saying, no, we got everything under control here? Trump is acting like a dictator. This is federal overreach. We have about a minute. What do you have to say to that, ma'am?
I would say he's saying, don't believe your lying, cheating eyes, but a federal court and a federal court monitor have said something different. It is very clear that Portland is literally in the bottom of the barrel of good policing. And, they're about to find out what that means. There will be consequences for Portland, and very stupid and wrong to arrest a journalist just for doing his job. And I fully expect that if they want to get smart about getting better outcomes here, they dismiss that charge. That's going to be up to them, of course, but federally, the pain is just beginning for Portland, and we're going to make sure that we see this through.
Harmeet Dhillon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
As we mentioned, our next guest, all too familiar with Antifa as well. He's a senior editor at the Post Millennial. He's also the New York Times bestselling author of Unmasked, Inside Antifa's Radical Plan to Destroy Democracy. Andy No, you just heard Harmeet Dhillon talk about your case when you were attacked by Antifa members in Portland yourself back in 2019. Trump has now designated them as a terrorist organization. Now, Nick Sorter, before his arrest last night, he posted this clip of an Antifa member jumping onto federal property at the Portland ICE facility after repeatedly being told to stay off. The person said, do something about it. And well, they did. What do you think was going on with the Portland police and their priorities?
Well, I was shocked when earlier this week, the Portland police chief came out essentially running cover for Antifa by downplaying the months of nightly rioting that have happened on one city block. And it seemed to suggest that because it was in just one small area of the city, it was no big deal. But within the city block, journalists have been attacked over and over, my colleague and others that I know who have been out there. And if it wasn't for their footage, we wouldn't know really what was happening out on the ground. We would have to rely on the legacy media, who are nowhere to be found. And worse, they are also running cover for Antifa by running reports and opinion pieces saying, Portland's completely fine, don't come here, referring to the federal government.
And Andy, also you have Democrats saying that, Antifa doesn't exist. It's an ideology. These are organic protests. What do you have to say to that?
Antifa act as shock troops for Democrats, so of course they're going to deny the existence of Antifa because Democrats benefit when Antifa carry out acts of violence against conservatives and disenfranchise them from the democratic and electoral process. They have a symbiotic relationship.
And Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary, she addressed the chaos in Portland. Take a listen.
Just last night, we saw an extremely troubling incident where conservative journalist Nick Sorter was captured on video being taken into custody by the Portland police after he was ambushed by Antifa and was defending himself from these assaults. This incident is part of a troubling trend in Portland where left-wing mobs believe they get to decide who can visit and live in their city. It is not their city. It is the American people's city, and President Trump is going to restore that. I just spoke with the president about this, and he has directed his team here at the White House to begin reviewing aid that can potentially be cut in Portland.
Andy, what do you think about the Trump administration taking this extremely seriously?
They have to. The violence has been going on for far too long. And unfortunately, I myself have experienced what poor police leadership in Portland looks like. Out of all the times that I've been nearly killed in Portland. Nobody was ever arrested. And I have myself witnessed how Portland police will arrest those on the right during brawls and at riots, and literally arrest 0 people who are on the Antifa side.
Unbelievable. Andy Nell, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
All right, coming up, as Mariah Carey's song goes, "Why are you so obsessed with me?" Unfunny Jimmy Kimmel, he goes after Newsmax again. We've got that and more in our Culture Clash coming up next.
You hear the same voices. Donald Trump knows that's a lie. From the same people. Donald Trump is less lucid. Saying the same thing.
Insults, invective, and outright lies.
And you say, enough! I'm Chris Salcedo, and I'll tell you the real news. If you don't believe me, just tune in.
My employees and I want to thank all of you at Newsmax for your continued support of MyPillow. It's because of you and the grace of God that we're making it through. And to thank you, we're bringing you the best offers ever. Get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings, regularly $119.98, now only $29.88. Our My Towels are finally back in stock. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. Towels that actually work. What a concept. And for the first time and the only time ever, you're going to get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and a designer gusset. Queen $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code when you order today. Inventory for these offers are extremely limited, and once they're gone, they're gone.
A return to greatness with you at Trump Tower. Patriot Gold Group is the only gold company with this access.
It's about relationships and loyalty, conservative values and commitment.
Patriots protecting patriots since 2016. Over $1 billion in transactions and home of the no fee for life IRA.
Hey, I'm not just a spokesman, I'm a client since the very beginning.
Give Patriot Gold Group a call at 1-800-778-4156.
Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold and silver dealer nationwide. The only firm nationwide where you, the client, work directly with an owner. Home of the no fee for life IRA. See how easy it is to protect your IRA with physical gold and silver.
Call now, 1-800-778-4156.
For pain in multiple spots like here, here, or here, Salonpas patches stick firmly and remove comfortably once your pain is gone. Salonpas. It's good medicine.
Hi, TV Genie.
What do you want? I wish I could find my shows easier.
I wish my primetime TV was automatically recorded.
I wish I could record more.
Well, I can't do any of those things. So here, I swapped your outfits.
Switch to Dish. Get voice control, automatic primetime recording, and more recording power.
You're welcome.
Switching from DirecTV satellite to Dish can save you over $300 in your first year.
We should get Dish.
Healthy aging support starts here with the innovative nitric oxide science pioneered by Human, supporting your body from the heart out through circulation, blood flow, blood pressure, and energy. Results you can feel, science you can trust. Get started today at livehuman.com.
Upgrade for the holidays with Lumber Liquidators' great flooring deals now until October 7th. Laminate flooring from just 59 cents a square foot. Waterproof click vinyl for $119 a square foot. And now select Bellawood flooring is $1 off. Ends October 7th. LumberLiquidators.com.
Oh, Jimmy, have you run out of all your material that the first place you automatically turn to is, of course, Newsmax? I mean, I know all of our great anchors are amazing and have hilarious personalities, but the only one lacking any kind of sense of humor and personality, of course, is you. You came after Carl many, many times, as well as myself, and now you're hopping on the Greg Kelly train.
The Magosphere is very fired up about the news that Bad Bunny is doing the Super Bowl halftime.
So you heard about this guy, Bunny? Is that his name? Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny. It's yet another reason to not watch football. It stinks. Roger Goodell and all those criminals, they can have their money. Boycott it. Read a book. Go to church. I'm serious. NFL, no freaking life. No. I'll get back to you on the L. Be right back.
How about this L? This is the one my kids would give you.
Yeah, you're losing in the ratings, Jimmy Kimmel, because the only comedy I saw that was Greg Kelly, who is hilarious, by the way. Joining me now to discuss that and more, Daily Caller columnist and analysis writer Mary Rooke. Also with us, political strategist and CEO of Compass Strategies, Luke Ball. Mary, what do you think about that?
I think it's really hilarious that he comes back from his show and like the only thing he's obsessed with is anything conservatives have to say about him or anything like appearing to the left. And another thing is why isn't Jimmy upset that they chose Bad Bunny? Bad Bunny hates America, has like tried to get boycotts on America, talks bad about America several times in all these different places. And yet for some reason, Jimmy Kimmel thinks like the smart move for him after he was almost canceled once to then come back and like support the guy that hates America. This doesn't make any sense, but I think you're right. It has to do with the fact that his ratings are failing. And he's trying to do anything to at least get more left-wing eyes on his stuff. And that's why he goes after the right. And Greg Kelly is hilarious. Leave him alone. Free Greg Kelly from Jimmy Kimmel's grasp.
Yeah, you know what? It's just, I bet people watching that were like, okay, well, it's true. Because, I mean, Bad Bunny, but whatever. This next story, this is what Jimmy Kimmel should be talking about, that Netflix is becoming a grooming syndicate. And it's once again been caught grooming kids as young as the age of 2 with their LGBTQ plus times 10, whatever, alphabet mafia content. And Elon Musk, even he's had enough. He's starting a boycott on his X account 2 days ago to have people cancel their Netflix subscriptions. And since then, Netflix stock has dropped almost 5% this week. I mean, they're talking like what? I think it was like $15 million, Luke. The videos from Netflix. I mean, they have this kind of documentary glorifying trans. That's what Jimmy Kimmel, that's what people are outraged about, not Greg Kelly making fun of Bad Bunny.
First of all, Lydia, the only time Jimmy Kimmel gets decent ratings is when Newsmax plays a clip of him to their audience. I think that he gets maybe double or triple the ratings there. And unfortunately, Netflix has just become like Nihilism Plus. They should rename the entire organization because this is a clash of worldviews. They are trying to impose a worldview of amoralism on the next generation. They want them to think that nothing exists and nothing matters. And therefore, once they accept that worldview wholeheartedly, they're going to take it into their politics. They're going to take it into the next generation and try to transform America into something that it should never become. So I'm deeply troubled to see how this has been pushed on children, and parents need to be paying attention.
You know, another guy that I can't believe has not been canceled fully yet and still has a job, race baiter Al Sharpton. He must be, I know he's lost a bunch of weight. I was just watching this documentary. Remember how big he was and he wore the big medallion? Apparently now all he eats is chicken.
Yes.
Well, anyway, take a listen to what he says here. Listen to this.
I don't watch MSDNC, but someone just sent me a clip of Reverend Al Sharpton claiming Michigan doesn't have a black congressman.
Because there's been tensions. There are no black members of Congress now from Michigan, first time in decades.
Al, are you that blind? I'm here.
So clearly that's an African-American gentleman right there. What do you think, Mary, about the fact that you've got Al Sharpton? Oh, there's no black members of Congress. Clearly that's a black man of Congress. What do you think?
I think Democrats lost Michigan in 2024, and now they're trying to race bait voters into going after their party again by shaming white voters into voting for, race-style candidates. It's not going to work anymore. I think the American people are exhausted by that type of rhetoric. I think it's really hilarious that John James, who's a veteran, by the way, just comes out and is like, can you not see me? Am I invisible at this point? John James is, he's a great candidate for Michigan. I think there's a lot of black elected official in Michigan, actually. Has he ever been to Detroit? And so I think what he means is that the Democratic Party are losing their grasp on voters there, and that's what he's really upset about.
Luke Bull, real quick before I let you go, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever you want to call him, sentenced to 4 years behind bars. 4 years. Meantime, you got George Santos. He was sentenced to 7 years, and it was a nonviolent crime. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I would quadruple the sentence and throw away the key for P. Diddy. It's just really disgusting, a lot of the things that came out during this trial, and now that he's been proven guilty. I hope that anything else that might have come up as a result of the investigation into these parties gets prosecuted if it wasn't covered under this case in particular, because I think there's a lot that Hollywood covers up that just, if it ever came to light, would be wholeheartedly disastrous for that entire industry.
Luke and Mary, we got to leave it right there. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, coming up, getting rid of woke nonsense at our universities and more. Trump on track to rid our country of indoctrination institutions once and for all. That's next.
You're careful about what you bring home when shopping, especially when it comes to feeding your family. Shouldn't your investments work the same way? At Timothy Plan, we offer a wide selection of mutual funds and ETFs that can help you allocate assets without compromising your values. From technology to healthcare, energy to real estate, our funds are not only diverse but uncompromising to your values. Timothy Plan funds are filtered to avoid companies involved in abortion, pornography, human trafficking, and other harmful agendas. What you invest in should reflect what you stand for. Are your investments bearing good fruit? What's in your portfolio? Contact your financial advisor today to find out, or contact Timothy Plan directly at 1-800-TIM-PLAN to discover more. Before investing, carefully consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the investment company. This and other important information can be found in the fund's prospectus. To obtain a copy, visit timothyplan.com or call 800-846-7526. Read each prospectus carefully before investing. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Talking to people today about their retirement accounts. Sir, excuse me.
Yeah.
Do you have a retirement account?
Yeah, I've got a TSP from my old government job.
How's that doing?
I'm forgetting about it. I can't contribute to it. There are fees to get the funds, and the investment options are limited, so the money's just stuck.
How about a gold IRA?
I can do that.
Absolutely. You can roll it into a gold IRA, and you have all the same tax advantages as a TSP, but with more flexibility. And you can put physical gold and silver in your retirement account.
I'm taking control with Noble Gold Investments.
Your retirement, your rules. Noble Gold.
President Trump said, "For America to be a great nation, we must always be one nation under God." Show your kids why America's faith matters with the free Kids Guide to our One Nation Under God. Get it at freegodgift.com. That's freegodgift.com.
Get essential satellite internet when you switch to Viasat. New plan, new deal. Unleash savings with plans as low as $49.99. Visit Viasat.com/savebig or call 833-3-VIASAT to sign up today.
Shopping with
Whoa. The unexpected can happen to any of us. That's why SelectQuote makes it easy to get the life insurance coverage you need to protect your family for less than $1 a day.
SelectQuote found me a $500,000 policy for only $16 a month.
We could help you save more than 50% on life insurance.
Hello, everyone. It's President Donald J. Trump, and it's Trump time. Check out this red beauty. It's one of my new watches. Wear it proudly on your wrist, and everyone will know exactly what it's for, who it represents. It's really going to be something special. It's for your favorite president. Get your watch today at gettrumpwatches.com. Please make a great gift. It's Trump time.
Making colleges great again in an effort to stop the indoctrination at our colleges and universities. The White House is asking 9 major colleges to agree to a set of demands in exchange for access to federal funds. The expansive 10-point memo, dubbed the Compact for Academic Excellence in Higher Education, demands that schools ban the use of race or sex in hiring, DEI, and as well as in admissions, freeze tuition for 5 years, cap international undergrad enrollment at 15%, and require that applicants take the SAT or a similar test and quell grade inflation. Now, the 9 universities you see right there on your screen, let's pull that up right there. Dartmouth, University of Pennsylvania, Southern California, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and more. You see, these are woke universities that we've talked about before. Joining me now to discuss, senior fellow at the American Culture Project, Corey DeAngelis. Corey, what do you think about this?
Well, this is fantastic news from Trump. He's on his fight to make education great again in America. And look,
you know, a big part of this was that these universities have gone so far radical left. They've been hotbeds of ideological indoctrination. They haven't been aligned with educating students and getting them great jobs. They haven't been focused on that. So if you look at Brown University, for example, I was looking up their donations from people affiliated that work at the universities. And in the most recent election cycle from last year, according to Open Secrets, 97.7% of their campaign contributions went to Democrats. These universities have become one-sided political entities, not really educational institutions. So it's great that Trump is trying to restore merit by having testing for some of these institutions. I think he should take it a step further and not just say, you know, you could take the SAT or ACT. He should destroy the College Board monopoly by also saying that they have to allow students to take the classic learning test as well, so that we could have more conservative students going to college as well.
Yeah, I mean, your kid goes to school one way and comes back another. It's really crazy. And you're hearing that story over and over again, and then they become ill-informed voters, and it just, this vicious cycle repeats, and that's why we're seeing this chaos on the campuses. President Trump, he's also urging elite colleges to accept more Americans over foreigners, get rid of, again, the DEI hiring, and that American universities, they should be serving American students. What are we doing here?
Yeah, you would think, right? We spend so much taxpayer dollars on these institutions. And look, Harvard, for example, was set to lose billions of dollars in funding every single year. And why are, you know, everyday Americans who might not even go to college subsidizing these elites at places like Harvard University to basically churn out people who, after sitting on a $53 billion endowment, who go out and don't love their country? And so when it comes to these foreign students as well, if Americans are paying for this, that should be prioritized for American students. It makes sense.
I know, and these poor kids spending all this money only to become baristas, you know, at Starbucks. So the Chicago Teachers Union, by the way, is holding a book event for Randy Weingarten. And on October 8th, and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson will be there. You actually shared a leaked email from Weingarten's assistant who pointed to Johnson's 14% approval rating and said it is, quote, important to face squarely what happened in Chicago. It has not gone so well. And then while promoting the event, they sent out an email calling President Trump a fascist. The email continued. I mean, and they literally spelled Chicago wrong. You cannot make this stuff up, Corey.
I mean, it's beyond parody, really. It's almost like the headline from a Babylon Bee article. But yeah, the Chicago Teachers Union must be employed by people who graduated from Chicago public schools. I mean, remember, just a couple of years ago, there was a report that came out showing that 55 public schools in Chicago had not a single kid proficient in math. That's zero insane. Kids. And they spend how much? $30,000 a child per year, much higher than private school tuitions. And they're a total failure factory. Randy Weingarten should resign in disgrace. She should not go forward with her book promotion calling conservatives fascist all across the country. She was just on MSNBC the other day where she said that, you know, basically she wears a paperclip nowadays because during the Nazi occupation of Norway, teachers used to wear paperclips. So she's basically saying that America.
And she tried to rip off your book, too, by the way.
Yeah, by the way, my book is The Parent Revolution. The cover is exactly like hers. Mine came out first. I dedicated my book to her because she has inadvertently done more to advance education freedom than anyone could have ever imagined, because she's been stepping on a rake every single day, making a fool of themselves. And by the way, CTU, they just celebrated a convicted cop killer, Assata Shakur, who was on the FBI's most wanted terrorist list.
Right. She was in Cuba. She killed a cop. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And then Harvard, we can't. That drag queen. You can't make this stuff up.
It's free advertising for homeschooling and school choice. So look, tell your lawmakers, I need to be able to vote with my feet to go somewhere else. And for teachers, they need to be able to vote with their feet too. And they should stop funding Randy Weingarten and join alternatives like the Teacher Freedom Alliance. Stop giving your money to Democrat campaign coffers.
She's making a lot of money. She's already made
over $600,000 a year. I mean, it's insane.
$600,000. What? Oh my goodness.
And teachers are making like $60,000.
I know.
Randy Weingarten is an embarrassment.
I could have a whole hour with you, Corey. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you, Lydia.
Before we go, Democrats are such crybabies. Oh, they got to lighten up already.
The press won't report the real story.
The American people are actually very smart.
Ridiculous statements.
These guys are just plain weird.
Actual scandals.
Even the immunity decision. I mean, that decision was so misreported.
That's my job, and I aim to do it every night.
The poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is wishy-washy as the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galena. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help Rush, a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives.
My employees and I want to thank all of you at Newsmax for your continued support of MyPillow. It's because of you and the grace of God that we're making it through. And to thank you, we're bringing you the best offers ever. Get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings, regular $119.98, now only $29.88. Our My Towels are finally back in stock. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. Towels that actually work. What a concept. And for the first time and the only time ever, you're going to get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and a designer gusset. Queen $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code when you order today. Inventory for these offers are extremely limited, and once they're gone, they're gone.
At Balsam Hill, we're crafting joy early this year. For a limited time, save up to 30% off on our beautifully designed lifelike Christmas trees, now made with more sustainable materials. Jumpstart the season and find your holiday spirit early this year at balsamhill.com.
Where's my mother gonna... Oh, no. Is this the episode with the breakup? Reba, we can't agree on the house. Y'all need Realtor.com. With over 500,000 new listings every month, you could find the one today. This could be it. Better put a key ring on it. Realtor.com.
Well, this Schumer shutdown has just reinforced that Democrats have lost all their sense of humor.
He posts a deepfake video with sombreros in it, and he thinks that's funny. This isn't funny to the American people who are starting to get their premium bills right now. Then today it's the Grim Reaper with himself in a video that is just, again, completely, he thinks this is funny. He thinks that people are going to joke about this. I promise you, they're not.
Well, you are dead wrong there, Klobuchar, because this is exactly what America voted for. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm Lidia Curanaj. Trust and remember that God is with you, and always, always the one, the only Bob Brooks in for Rob Schmidt tonight. Thank you.
You're the one, Lydia. You are the best. I appreciate you handing it off. Amy Klobuchar, the worst, right?
The worst. They all are.
Jeez, that whiz. All right, everybody, let's do it.